Welcome all. In this lecture, we will look into the details of laser beam machining. Similar to electron beam machining, laser beam machining is also one of the thermoelectric type advanced machining process. So here, electrical energy is converted into thermal energy to remove the material from the workpiece. And in laser beam machining, material removal is by using high intensity laser beam. We know that laser beam is a light source which has certain unique properties such as high monochromaticity, high degree of coherence, high brightness, high peak power, high energy per pulse, and very small size of the focus spot. So to make this laser beam useful for processing of materials, the power density of the beam should be increased, so which we can achieve it by focusing the laser beam onto the workpiece material. So here the power density of the laser beam finally determine whether the beam can be used to perform welding, cutting, or heat treatment. So for each of this specific operation, a certain power density has to be maintained. For example, to maintain a machining operation, the laser beam power density should be between 1.5 times 10 to the power 6 to 10 to the power 8 watt per centimeter squared, and the workpiece should be kept very close to the focal point. And for welding, we can use lower power density laser beam, so which is of the order between 1.5 times 10 to the power 4 to 10 to the power 5 watt per centimeter square. So for welding, we need a lower power density laser beam, whereas in case of machining operations such as cutting, the power density should be of higher range. Now this is the basic schematic of the laser beam machining or laser beam welding process. So here this is the laser that is being used to weld these two specimens. So here we are using a Endiag laser. So this can be used either for welding or cutting operations. That can be sheet metal cutting. So what we are doing is that, so we have the solid state laser over here which emits the laser light. This emitted laser light is focused onto the material surface by using a optical lens. So by focusing this laser beam onto the surface, so the beam intensity increases as well as the power density also gets increased. That is, the energy will be higher per unit area when compared to the beam that is being emitted from the laser source. So what will happen when the beam strikes onto the workpiece surface? So it will heat up the material that is present on the surface of the workpiece. So when the laser beam falls on the workpiece surface, reflection and transmission of electromagnetic waves takes place at the interface of air and workpiece material. That is, when the laser beam hits the workpiece surface, there will be certain reflection as well as transmission of electromagnetic waves that will be taking place on between air and workpiece material interface. So this is that interface between the air, that is the environment, and the workpiece material. So here there will be reflection and transmission of electromagnetic waves, and depending upon the intensity of the beam, certain events may take place. That is, if the beam is of low intensity, then there may be no phase change of the workpiece material. But if the laser beam is of high intensity, then what will happen is that the work material surface temperature will start to rise up, and it can reach above its boiling point and even vaporization temperature as well. So because of this, what will happen? The material starts to vaporize. So this is the main mechanism by which the material is being removed in case of laser beam machining process. So in case of laser beam welding, since we are using low power density laser beam, so there will not be any vaporization, but melting will happen. So because of melting, these two plates will get joined during solidification. Whereas in case of machining process, the temperature rise would be higher than the boiling point and vaporization point. Because of that, the material gets removed by means of vaporization. Now we will see the incident or the heat consumption from the laser beam to the work material. So here we have the laser beam incident power, that is, this is the incident power because of the striking of the laser beam onto the workpiece surface. So when the laser beam hits the workpiece surface, so during hitting or before striking, the laser beam will be having a certain power within it, but the same power will not be, or same energy will not be transmitted onto the workpiece to heat it. So some of the energy will get lost during the interaction between the laser beam and the workpiece material. So this loss may be because of reflection and scattering. That is, the reflection is nothing but the reflection of the laser beam and scattering of the laser beam. So if you consider a highly reflecting workpiece material such as aluminum, so the laser beam, part of the laser beam gets reflected, so the energy will be lost in that. Similarly, by means of scattering, the input energy will get lost. And the next thing is absorption by the metal surface. So some of the energy will get absorbed into the metal surface by means of electromagnetic waves or radiation. So this absorption of this power leads to heat generation. So this heat generation, that is, the temperature of the heat will be very high, that it can reach up to the vaporization temperature of the material. So if the heat temperature is above the vaporization temperature of the material, then the material directly vaporizes and the material will be removed from the workpiece surface. Sometimes what will happen, there will be certain thermal diffusion, that is, the heat input, that is the temperature of the heat, will reach to the melting point of the material. So by which what will happen, the material starts to melt and liquefaction of the material will happen. So sometimes the material will also be removed in terms of molten metal also. So the removal of material by high pressure of vapor. So both melting as well as vaporization takes place. Because of the high pressure of vapor, this molten metal will also be removed from the workpiece material. So sometimes if you take high thermal conductivity material like copper, so what will happen? So most of the heat will get conducted away. So there will be certain loss because of thermal diffusion. So almost all the energy will not be used for material removal. So some of the energy will get lost by means of reflection, scattering, and also by means of thermal diffusion, that is thermal conduction. That is, if the material is having high thermal conductivity, then what will happen? So some of the energy will be conducted away by means of thermal diffusion. Similarly, there will be certain loss because of radiation also. That is, the workpiece material will radiate the heat to the environment by means of radiation. So this is the interaction of the laser beam with the workpiece material. So this depends upon the thermal and optical properties of the workpiece material, and as well intensity and pulse duration of the laser beam. That is, if the thermal conductivity of the material is higher, then there will be higher loss due to thermal diffusion, and if the optical property is higher for optical property is higher for the workpiece material, then there will be higher loss due to reflection and scattering. And if the intensity of the beam is higher, then heat that is being supplied to the workpiece material will also be higher. Similarly, pulse duration also. So if you maintain higher pulse duration, then the heat input or power input will also be higher. So these are some of the process characteristics of laser beam machining. Now, so laser beam machining involves high capital and operating cost. So we have to invest high capital amount and operating cost to start a laser beam machining. Similarly, the efficiency of machining is also very low, that is usually less than 1%. And LBM can be made or done by two modes of operation, that is continuous wave mode or impulse mode. So in continuous wave mode, that is the laser beam will be continuously striking on the workpiece material, that is continuous wave lasers. So it can be used for processes like welding, laser chemical vapor deposition, surface hardening, because these processes require uninterrupted supply of energy for melting and phase transformation. So for in case of welding, there will be continuous melting of the workpiece material. So we need a continuous supply of energy. So in case of surface hardening, there is a phase transformation happening on the surface of the workpiece material. So this phase transformation is continuous. So the supply of energy must be continuous. And the second mode is impulse mode or controlled pulse energy. So in impulse mode, the laser beam operates for certain pulse duration. So this impulse mode is desirable for processes such as cutting, drilling and marking. So this impulse mode helps in reducing the heat affected zones. So sometimes LBM reduces the fatigue strength of the workpiece material when compared to the conventional machining process. So this may be due to the phase transformation that are happening at the surface of the workpiece material, and LBM also results in heat affected zone. So you know what is heat affected zone. So some of the base metal of the workpiece will also get affected by the heat input, so which results in phase transformation. So when phase transformation happens, what will happen? The strength of the material will get reduced. So this will affect the final property of the component or the material. So this can be avoided by increasing the feed rate in LBM. So when we increase the feed rate, that is here the feed rate is the workpiece feed rate. So if we increase this, what will happen? The thickness of the heat affected zone gets reduced. So if we feed the workpiece material at a higher rate, then the thickness of the HIZ may go down. And the thickness of the heat affected zone is also governed by the type of assisting gas. Here, sometimes a pressurized gas is used to remove the molten metal from the workpiece material. So this thickness of the HIZ zone is also governed by the type of assisting gas that we are using and its pressure. So this is in case of gas assisted laser cutting. So here the gas is used to remove the molten metal from the cutting zone, and also it depends upon the gas nozzle diameter and the distance between the nozzle tip and the workpiece material. So in case of LBM, there are no mechanical forces exerted on the workpiece. So what we can do is that, so this LBM can be done at a faster rate when you compare it with the traditional machining process. For example, if you take turning, there is a continuous contact between the tool and the workpiece material. So there is a certain force exerted onto the workpiece. Whereas in case of LBM, there is no contact between, there is no tool over here. Because of this, there is no mechanical forces exerted onto the workpiece material. So there is no tool wear also. So this LBM can be carried out in a continuous manner and at a fast rate. And LBM, that is laser beam machining, is capable of machining refractory, brittle, hard, metallic and non-metallic materials. So for example, we can machine cast alloy of tungsten, titanium, aluminum and diamond. So you know aluminum and diamond are of very high hardness. So we can machine these type of materials using laser beam machining. And we can machine through any optically transparent material such as glass. So we can also machine glass using laser beam machining. So we can operate a laser beam machining through any transparent environment such as gas, air and vacuum, and sometimes even in liquids. But if you take electron beam machining, there must be a vacuum environment. So this is one of the advantage of laser beam machining. So you can operate it in any environment such as air, gas and vacuum. And one of the disadvantages is that laser beam machining cannot be applied for highly conductive and reflective materials. So as I have told earlier, so in case of highly conductive material, most of the heat will be conducted away. And in case of reflective materials, most of the laser light will be reflected and scattered away. So this results in loss of power density or loss of energy. For example, aluminum is highly reflective and copper is highly conductive. So this aluminum, copper and their alloys cannot be machined using laser beam machining. And using laser beam machining, holes of large aspect ratio. So here aspect ratio is the hole depth to diameter ratio. So we can machine or drill holes of large aspect ratio using laser beam machining, and we can also machine very small size diameter holes. So these are some of the advantages of laser beam machining. Now this is a typical geometry, this is the typical geometry of the hole that is being formed by laser beam machining. So here you can see this hatched area is nothing but the recast layer. So here recast layer is the material that is solidified during the laser beam machining process. That is, some of the molten metal will get solidified on the surface of the hole or on the surface of the machined area. So that becomes the recast layer. Here you can see this hole is not straight. So there is some taper involved in it. So this is one of the disadvantage of laser beam machining. Always the hole drilled is not straight. So it will be always tapered. Now, so this is the graph between time versus the pulse energy. You can see when the pulse energy is increased, that is the energy per pulse is increased, so the measuring time is getting reduced. So this is for drilling a hole of constant depth, that is for 6.35 mm. So when you increase the energy per pulse, then you can reduce the measuring time. And finally we will look into the applications, some of the applications of laser beam machining. So there are 3 different applications involved. So first one is drilling, and the second type is cutting or machining, and the third one is marking. So in drilling holes, so the workpiece is placed at or near to the focal point. So here focal point is the focusing point of the laser beam. So here you can see, so this is the focusing point of the laser beam, which is being focused using this optical mirror. So either this focal point will be on the top of the top surface of the workpiece material, or in between, or at the bottom of the workpiece surface. So depending upon the contour, we will decide the focusing point on the workpiece material. So now, the focusing point, that is the workpiece, is placed at or near to the focal point in case of drilling holes. So the material is removed by melting as well as by means of vaporization. So using laser beam machining, the hole diameter, that is we can drill holes of diameter varying between 0.125 to 1.25 mm and having aspect ratio of 100:1. But always the hole drill will be of tapered with low degree of roundness. So there will be recast layers involved, and there will be heat affected zones. And if you take the diameter repeatability, so it is between plus or minus 0.025 mm. So this is the tolerance, or it is between plus or minus 10% of the diameter. So now next application is cutting. So we can cut large sized holes, that is directly we can drill holes of diameter between 0.125 to 1.25 mm. So using the laser beam itself. Whereas if you want to cut large sized holes, then trepanning is done. So the trepanning is nothing but cutting rather than drilling. So you know what is meant by cutting. So if the diameter of the hole if the diameter of the hole is larger, then we go for cutting rather than drilling. And here no mechanical forces are involved, so we can go for high speed cutting. Here gas jet assists clearing the cut material, that is a gas jet is used to remove the molten metal from the workpiece. So in case of oxidizable materials, oxygen is used as a gas, so this results in higher cutting speed. Whereas what will happen when oxygen is supplied for the oxidizable materials, so oxides will be formed on the edges of the cut portion. So this results in larger heat affected zone. So argon is used to get good cutting edges in case of laser beam machining process. So production of cut shapes can be done in two ways, that is the control can be done in two ways. So trepanning is nothing but a cutting. So here for example consider a square hole. So this cutting is done by moving the laser on the desired path by optomechanically sweeping the beam, that is the beam is deflected using certain optomechanical systems. There will be certain optics or lanes which is used to deflect the beam on the desired path to cut the square hole or a hexagonal hole. So here the hole diameter will be of higher size and the beam is deflected on the desired path, and the cycle time is of few seconds. And we can also control the beam path using a CNC or any programmable controller unit, and this shape can be programmed using CAD diagrams. We can program, or we can give inputs to the CNCs to get the final hole to be drilled onto the workpiece surface. And final application if you take, so it is marking. So marking is to make letters, numerals and symbols on metals and non-metals. So here in case of marking, pulsating laser system and computer controlled beam scanning system is used. So here the beam is controlled using a computer, that is the reflection of the beam is controlled using a computer, and a pulsating laser beam is used. So we can make blind grooves of very small depth, that is between 0.005 to 0.25 mm with certain selected machining parameters. So for high quality marking, laser beam lasts for nanoseconds. So the position and timings of the laser beam is controlled using a microcomputer. And if you take the efficiency, so we can make 30 characters per second for my marking using laser beam machining process. So these are some of the applications of LBM. So in the next class we will discuss about electric discharge machining. Thank you.